these actually aren't bad.
Have you looked in a mirror, though?
I play a doctor on TV.
With a
What?
diaper on your face.
Play a doctor. I play a
TV?
I play a doctor on TV.
Oh, I'll have to sit down here.
Yes.
Well, I have Misty, but I thought I was in the wrong spot.
Are you ready?
Yep. We are live.
Okay, I'd like to call the Village of Mount Sterling Council meeting for June 8th, 2020 to order. Roll call, please.
David.
Here.
Melanie. Here. Craig.
Here.
Becky.
Here.
Jay.
Here.
All present.
Okay. David, would you like to lead in prayer?
Lord, be with us tonight, Lord, and help heal our country, Lord. Give that healing hand to them, Lord, and touch them tonight. And Lord, be with our village as we make decisions for the people, and be with our mayor as she makes decisions for us. And Lord, give us peace and love. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I'll pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, I would like to have a motion to approve the minutes from the council meeting held on May 11th, please.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, roll call, please.
Jay was second. So Craig was first. I'm just going to reiterate.
Yes,
You may
please.
not remember the rules. Craig was first and Jay was second.
Roll call, please.
David.
Yes.
Melanie. Yes. Craig.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Andy.
Yes.
Mayor's report. I don't really know what to say. This is a little awkward, and we decided we thought it was going to be a little bit easier being back in council chambers, but I'm not really sure that it is. I just want to say to our general population, I appreciate you hanging with us on these meetings. They're uncomfortable for everybody, whether they're in chambers with masks and separation or whether they're from our homes. Each time has its own unique problems when you try to conduct a meeting. It's just a little tricky. And we've been doing this for a while. I think Mount Sterling has done a pretty good job with social distancing, with staying at home, trying to abide by the rules. I would like to say I hope an end is in sight. I can't say that with any certainty, but I know the governor will be speaking again tomorrow, so hopefully we'll be good to go soon. So hang in there. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to us. We'll try to help you in any way that we can. Okay? We'll move on to President Pro Tem, Becky Martin.
Hi. Yes, I'm glad to be back in chambers. We have a little bit better communication. It is kind of awkward, I agree, Marcy, but at least we have our citizens out there and they can hear everything we're talking about. I just wanted to let everybody know that I've reorganized some of the committees. I gave some of our newer council members who now have close to 6 months under their belt some added responsibility. I'm happy to announce that Melanie Fritz is now the chair of Park and Recs, and also a new member on Park and Rec is David Timmons, and I'm happy to add him to this committee. We all know he loves this community and our parks and monuments, so he'll be a great addition. Also, I've named Jay Petty as the nuisance and abatement chair. I'm excited about the changes, and I also recently reminded the committees, now that we're going to try to get back to normal, that we need to really work on our 5-year plans and get those submitted to council so we can complete a more comprehensive plan for the village. I look forward to those beginning and coming together and getting on the right track. So that's all I have for this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Good to see everybody.
Very good. Public comments and visitors. We do have several people that want to talk this evening, and I will remind everybody that you have approximately 3 minutes to talk to council. So we will start with Cindy Compton, who is the owner of Ben and Joy's Restaurant. Cindy, you want to come on in?
Microphone.
Yeah, you need to come up to a microphone.
This microphone doesn't look like it has.
You want to give her yours?
Absolutely.
Come to that corner there.
Hi, I'm Cindy Compton. I'm with Ben and Joy's Restaurant. I'd like to address the issue of the food trucks. Mostly, it would be the parking for the food trucks. I understand it's a pandemic, and the food truck industry has been hurt as well, but we have been hurt also, and we are part of this community every day of the week for over 36 years. So to bring someone else into our town to cut off the parking, that's very limited parking on the street, and all public access parking in the parking lot of the Mad Hatter, that hurts our business. I know people enjoy that. When the council approved the first truck coming in, it was nice to see. I was, oh shoot, but I understood it. After lockdown, the weather changes, people wanted to have fun. The second time, I understand, was not council approved. They were invited into the town. I understand that they pay no fees, they pay no water, they pay no electric. We paid $2,500 last year to the water company for our water service. Our electric bills are high. I have RETA taxes that we put back into the community. We have $187,000 a year payroll that's mostly to the residents that live here, that we employ, that spend every dollar that they have, or mostly, right back in the community, at the Mad Hatter, at Larry's Pizza, at the Urban Pineapple, at every place else in the town, the fast cars. So we're just asking for the continued support of the community. I understand that not everybody will eat from us. We're trying to change that. But a lot of people do eat from us. So if there is another choice right across the street from me that's taking dollars out of our pocket at a time that we can't afford that. Any other year when Deer Creek is open and they have the street parties, it doesn't really bother us. And we could go through that one time. That was a little hit, but it was only one time. So if this is going to be something that's going to happen a couple of times a month, it's really going to make our struggle even harder. And right now, I feel like we're in the fight of our life to keep that big corner open and keep Ben and Joy's legacy to continue. And we do need the support of the community for that. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Cindy, I know your family business. I even know your grandpa and everybody.
Sure,
and
Ben.
I'm like, man.
I'm trying to be like
Yeah,
Ben.
yeah, exactly.
So we've changed it a little bit.
But I could see it. The local businesses are being hurt all over the country right now,
Yes.
and I could see where.
And restaurants, 53% of restaurants will not make it through this. And we're just big enough that it hurts. If we were little and could just keep our couple $100 and that's enough, but it's not enough for us. I have 10 people on payroll right now, 4 people that I really can't afford to bring back, mostly because they shut down our buffet, which was a big thing for people to come into. So we've been hit 3 different directions, and now the community that we've tried to support, we've taken food to people that can't get out. We've tried to give back to the community. I know my grandmother did for many, many years. And I guess I'm just asking right now for the community to really help us now. I have nothing against the food trucks. I understand they were hit hard too. They don't have anywhere to go. But come winter time, are they going to be enough to support this town? Because who knows if we're going to make it through this. So we're just asking that anything that we can get, please don't take that away from us.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mike Stage from Shadle Lane, Apartment 1.
Well, I got 2 issues. One's about the lights out here on the corner. They've been out over a year, and nothing's ever been done with them.
And we're looking into getting a bucket truck so that we can fix those.
Okay.
Our bucket truck currently is out of commission, so.
And another one's the siren on top of the building. When the storm, like we had that tornado come through, warnings, when you're in Baroque, you cannot hear it when that wind's blowing this way up north. But you don't hear nothing, because a lot of people was asking me about it. I said they need to come to the council member meeting about it, or they're gonna get a petition up, say something about it, because you can't hear it when it goes through.
Okay.
The tornado siren, is that what you're saying?
Yes, you cannot hear it when it blows up north. It's dead.
Hey, Marcus.
Well, what's the problem with it? I
You
mean,
can't hear it when it goes off.
from Burr Oaks, you can't
From
hear
Baroque and the Catawba Apartments, any of them down there, you cannot hear it.
it? So you're saying it's just not loud enough?
Not loud enough for us.
I'll kind of like side with that. I know at Wingate, I mean, I didn't hear the sirens until I stepped outside and there was just enough deadness to really hear it. It
Okay.
when the wind's blowing, you're
You're dead.
We had them real strong winds and rain too. I could have, because I know Rosewood was the same way, so it could be where we might have to have a stronger.
We'll look into seeing who has to come out, and I don't know who does that, but we'll figure out who needs to come.
Contact the EMA.
Okay,
Contact Debbie, send, she'll get you started.
okay, very good, thank you.
Better just get another one, put it down there at the new water department, put it out there, that way it can hit it, we can hear it all the way up through there.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
The next person is Mike Layton from Bower Road. Mike, can you hear us out there?
Ready?
You can come on up here to this microphone if you would.
Can you introduce Mike Layton? You'll need to state your
Okay,
title.
okay. Madam Mayor, council members, good evening. My name is Mike Layton. I'm with Layton Family Concessions. We have one of the food trailers that has come to town twice already.
Okay.
We've been in the food business since 2012. We have served Mount Sterling at every festival that they've had in the past for the last 7 years, at the park, on the street, and then obviously this year across here at the gazebo, not necessarily a festival. I would like to address the meeting tonight kind of the same way that Mrs. Compton did, the owner of the Ben and Joy's. Everybody's being hit hard with this pandemic, and everybody understands that. So just as they need to make their money and their make ends meet, we're in the same boat as well. We've had 13 festivals cancel on us already. The last one we got to cancel was the Pumpkin Show. I would venture to say it's probably going to cancel, but you're talking about 600,000 people coming through Circleville in 5 days. Now, whatever the meeting here kind of decides, that's out of my hands, okay? But we've told people, and we've told people what's going to happen every 2 weeks down here. We're going to set up from noon to 7 or whatever the given hours was at the time. Everybody was excited. A lot of people was excited, had lots of positive information, had positive feedback from the community. We've put things on Facebook. We've reached over 20,000 people through all of our between likes and shares. We bring a lot of people to town too, which is good for the community, good for the village, I understand. Case in point, we had a family from Logan come to Mount Sterling 3 weeks ago. They told us they was from Logan. Well, what are you doing here from Logan? Well, we didn't have nothing else better to do, so we seen your post. We come to town and get us a funnel cake. All righty. So we pull a lot of people. All righty. Now, I'm going to go on a limb here and be safe to say that somebody coming to town to go to Ben and Joy's restaurant to eat isn't going to change their mind and come get a funnel cake. Okay, I think that's pretty safe to say. If you're on your way to town to come to the restaurant and eat dinner, then that's what you're going to do. If you want to go across the street for dessert at our trailer, then fine, so be it. All righty. But I guess, in a nutshell, what it is, it's all free capitalism. It's free entrepreneurship, and I think it should be across the board. Everybody allowed to be in business to do what they would like to do. I heard a number, $2,500 for electric or water, whatever that was for. Well, you break that down to 365 days. That's $6.84 a day. Okay, so we pay our donation. We give a donation to the Parks and Rec, and that's fine. And it's more than that. And it probably covers what utilities we use and stuff like that. So I guess the biggest thing is here is we want a slice of the pie too. You know, we like coming to town, we like interacting with the community, and I think what we do, you know, and I'm gonna speak for the other two trailers was over there as well, we bring a lot of people to town, you know, where they stop to Sunoco, get gas, or, you know, stop and get a bottle of pop or a bottle of water. It's just, if you're gonna be a good thriving community, you know, you need to bring people to town, no matter what the reason is, you know. Basically, all need to get along, you know.
Would you be willing to come to like maybe a meeting where we have maybe a representative from Parks and Rec and Cindy and yourself, and maybe one or other of the food trucks, so we can try to come to an amicable, you know, decision to help both parties out, or all parties out?
Absolutely, and I do not see a problem with that whatsoever. It's, you know, we don't have buffets, we don't have fish fries, and we don't serve,
Right.
you know, lasagna and baked beans in our trailer. You know, so, you know, they do their thing, we do our
Sure.
thing. It's just different. They want to go to the restaurant and eat. Like I said, go there and eat, come across for dessert.
Right,
You know, no big deal.
right.
Can I say one thing real quick? So on Facebook, you know, we don't sponsor these cruise-ins. The community, they just pop up. Got a couple of people who are excited about cars and decided we had nothing to do, so they got these going. And then we thought of the food truck ideas, add a little extra. Now, when they started these things, they told us it was going to be every other week of the summer. Okay, so we did have 2 in May. But I did want to let everybody know, Cindy and you, Mike, as well, that I went on Facebook yesterday, and the next one is for the 20th. It's supposed to be this coming weekend, the 13th. That would be the opposite weekend, because the last one was May 30th. So they have changed it, and they're their own entity. They've changed it to the 20th. So with that said, there's only going to be one day in June for these food trucks, an opportunity. So I don't know if, Cindy, if that changes your mind at all, that you'd be open, you know, to the fact that it's only going to happen once in June. But I did want to let everybody know that, because before it was going to be the 13th and then again at the end of the month. But now there's,
Can I say that the big issue is the parking? It's when they shut off all the parking that goes past here and the public parking, there's no place to park for customers if they do want to come to us. So I understand that everybody's hurt and everybody wants a little slice of what people are putting out there. And I think I spoke that at the last meeting, that if they were not shutting down the middle of town, then that would be something, I'm never gonna like it, of course, but I understand it. So,
Well, maybe, I don't know, I know because you're 7 days a week, it might be hard to get a meeting with you, but let's see if we can sit down and see if we can come up with some ideas. Does that sound all right?
that sounds great.
Melanie, does that sound okay with you? Okay.
Well, I had a question. So I know the first one, yeah, we did agree. Trucks put in great. And the second one wasn't. So you said that you were invited. I mean, who's inviting you to town? I mean, how does that happen?
Becky contacted me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was also, we heard an invite to town. That's why, since we're not sponsoring it, I just want to make sure.
Jay, the Parks and Rec Committee, you were at the meeting. We all talked
Yeah, the
about
first
it.
one, the second one.
Well, the second one as well, we talked about it.
There was no motion to accept. That's why I'm asking. For the second one, there wasn't a motion or a vote to say.
Yeah, we talked about the fee price and everything. I think you were there.
Okay. I'll get your information from Becky then, and I give you a call, and maybe
Fine.
we can sit down sometime very soon.
And just for the record, I'd like to know, I mean, she referred shutting down the middle of town. Does that just mean like parking, or like, I mean, the streets weren't blocked, nothing like that. I mean, it was all traffic and all that stuff. Was it just, you're referring to parking?
If people are coming to me and there's no place to park, they're gonna drive right on down to the Willow, or they're gonna go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, or they're just not
Yeah.
gonna stop, because where are they gonna park?
Parking is an issue for us anyway.
Then
so-
maybe it resorts to just a parking issue, period.
Yeah.
And
Then we
that's
can work
it.
something out.
You know.
Let's
Yeah,
get together and talk
sure,
about it,
absolutely,
okay?
Absolutely.
Perfect,
All right,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's see, sorry. And then we have Todd and Barbie Wallace. Oh, you weren't? Oh,
I heard you sign, that's why I asked you when you had me sign in. I'm like, oh, I thought you heard me.
okay, all right. You sure? You can if you want, I mean.
Go ahead, Barbie.
right. Well,
I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. My fault.
that takes us to executive session, which we have none. We'll go to department reports. We have Kelly here representing the Sheriff's Department. Kelly?
Is it okay if I take this off so I can hold it up to speed? I think, I don't need, if I don't have this, I don't need a mic.
Okay,
I can put my out.
okay.
Okay, so Detective Kelly Sparks speaking on behalf of the Madison County Sheriff's Office. Jack Doe was off today.
It was his birthday. Happy birthday, Jack.
Happy birthday, Jack. So, overall, the call volume for the Madison County Sheriff's Office countywide went down during the pandemic. Everybody was in, and fortunately, they must have been behaving, or at least they were not contacting the Sheriff's Office for calls. So, call volume was also down a little bit in the village, but we did, with the opening of the state, we're starting to get a few things. People are starting to get out. We've had several juvenile complaints within the village. Juveniles out after curfew. We've filed several charges on juveniles for different things as far as being out after curfew, not being home with their parents, thought they were home or had told them to be home. So we've had that. We've had some domestic disputes. Again, weather's getting warmer. People want to get out and move around. Outside of that, everything's pretty much constant across the board as far as thefts, vehicles, traffic stops, suspicious people, suspicious vehicles. We did have a couple breaking and enterings that were able to be resolved. A couple animal complaints. We ask if anybody's out. Just again, animals are out this time of year because of the nice weather, but state law does require them to be either confined on their property behind some sort of a barrier or fence, or if they are out walking them off their property, they are to be confined on a tether of some sort with an individual to able to control the dog. So we've run into a couple animal complaints again, and that's to be expected with the warmer weather. Outside of that, I'm open for any questions, or if anybody has anything that
Kelly, is that
Maybe
why
take back to
the
the
dog,
office.
is that why the dog warden's been through town so much? I know I ran into a situation 2 weeks ago, and I was one of the ones that made one of the calls. They'd had a dog running loose and made me run faster than I wanted to, but maybe that's why he's been in town so much, checking these out now.
Yes, the dog warden has, in listening to the radio throughout the day, the dog warden has addressed several complaints of dogs running loose, or we've had a couple dog bites, things like that, with the worm, which is kind of be expected. Just like people, they get out, they get a little testy when the weather starts getting warmer, and we do have a dog warden. I think most of you know our dog warden for Madison County is a deputy sheriff, works under the umbrella of the sheriff's office. So if you need the dog warden, you can call right into our office.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you. And would you mind,
I think we have a question now.
yes.
What about the coyotes here in town? We got a pack of them down on the other side of the window.
That would be Matt
Teeters?
Teeters with the Department of Natural Resources.
Because I see them sometime I go down by there, I see a bunch of them running on this side.
Yeah, that would be, the coyote situation falls under the Department of Natural Resources, and Matt Teeters is the local game warden.
Okay.
Thank you. And would you let Misty know to kind of,
I can.
yeah,
display.
please, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. Next is the Law Director's Report, and Mr. Smith is not here tonight. He's still social distancing, and we know that we'll have him here to meet everybody at some point. We did have him come and give us some training and meet our council, and we did have that open to the public as well. And that was a very informative, about hour and a half that we had last week. It was very good, and we're really glad that he's part of our team. So, next we have fiscal officer.
Misty.
Misty.
Water clerk.
Oh, what did I say? Did I say fiscal officer?
I said physical, but Misty is.
It's okay, I'm kind of masked. You probably didn't recognize me. I look like Courtney a little bit. I get it. So just short and sweet, thank you for everybody coming, and, it is kind of weird, like having the mask on and everything, but just want to get a couple figures out there and thank some people for just working so well with the village and so forth. But first of all, I'm going to start off with the delinquents. They are up as expected. I'm going to say due to the COVID-19, there's people out of work, and they have each individual person. They have their story. Some are on payment agreements. Some of those have been defaulted as well, and they're trying, paying what they can. And so right now there is a ban on any shutoffs, which, we're updated constantly with that, and they know the consequences. There's assistance over at Madison County through Job and Family Services, through Community Action. There's forms in our lobby for that. If people would like to call them, all the information's on there. They can call me. I can get them a form. I can email one to them. It's up around 17-18%. The stimulus checks did help a lot. That I really, as people explain to me, they don't want to be behind. They're doing what they can. So I have, and I assured them the list that I give to council and to the mayor, it does not have their names on it, doesn't have the addresses on it, just figures. So I'll continue to update that. It's constantly being updated. There's probably about, I don't know, over 60, 70 payments that have not been processed today. We've had a lot of calls recently, and we're returning those calls as soon as we can. Your call will get returned. We're not forgetting about anybody out there. It just sometimes with it, just her or I, or just, splitting up our time, and with the mayor here, we can only get to the phone as can't answer it always when somebody calls right then. I've been working with Tom for building and zoning permits, and we've done quite a few so far, a big handful of them. There's been a couple variances put in for some changes for items on their property, such as a certain type of fence or shed or a variance that's been sent to him. We have forms. If anybody needs forms, they're out in the lobby as well. Contact us. We'll get you email, again, fax it to you, whatever needed. The turnarounds seems to be pretty quick on those, on the applications and the permits requested. And I'll mention one question that's been asked me, how much is it? So, and it's really nice to give really good news to say right now, the cost, there's no cost as of right now. It's not, right now, no cost.
No, there is a cost.
Okay, there wasn't Friday, so I'm sorry.
Scheduled fees, there is cost, yeah.
Okay, well, you'll have to go over that and
Yeah.
give that to me, because I didn't know that there was one.
Yeah, Tom has it.
Friday, there wasn't, right?
No, it was
Okay.
in effect since last Tuesday.
Okay, well, maybe we can.
Record scratch.
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
What a downer. So maybe the couple people that I told that was not a cost, we can hand that over to the mayor and see how to discuss that. I apologize. A reminder to anybody that is going to dig, like put in a fence, put in a deck. They need to make sure that they call OOPS or have their contractor make sure that they get a hold of OOPS call before you dig. It's 811. So, yeah. And so we get those in, and the guys will go mark as they need to. We do not mark your lines that go to the house. A lot of people think that we'll mark the water and sewer, the service lines that go into your home. We do not do that. We just mark anything that has to do with our mains. And I think that is it.
Do I have any questions for Misty?
Mitzi, I know with the governor, we cannot shut off water right now anyway, can we?
No, not as of now.
That's probably.
Yeah, we have a wastewater meeting on Wednesday, right? And we'll probably be discussing what kind of protocol we'll put into place as soon as that order is rescinded or released, whatever the word is that used for that. So we would just like to remind everybody, though, if you can make any kind of payment, you should be doing it, because once that order is lifted, then, you know, we got to go back to paying our bills. So don't just think of it as a time where, well, the governor says we don't have to pay, they're not going to shut us off. Don't be spending all your money on other things. You got that water bill, you need to be paying it. So, but we'll have that on our Facebook page and with, you know, what the protocol will be, and you can always call in and we can do that. And then also, I would like to address the phone calls. Just know that we do not have I mean, if the phone calls get bumped around to different people, if Misty's on the phone, if Courtney's on the phone, sometimes they come to me. So we're doing our best to answer your questions as quickly as we possibly can. So just be patient with us.
All right. And another thing, a lot of people are using the online to make their payments, and so that was a good thing that we were able to get on there. Hopefully we can continue to get up to date with some of our processes for them to make their payments, such as an app on their phone. So that's not forgotten. Another question that I had, and I don't know if you're probably going to cover it if you haven't, is the opening of the window. That's one thing that have been asked quite a bit. So.
I think we're probably shooting for next week. A lot of other municipalities have opened this week, but we have some vacation time this week for you, and so it would just make more sense for us to wait until next week to open up the window again.
Okay. And
So we will be practicing social distancing in regards to the window until the governor says that that's not necessary.
And thanks goes out to George for doing anything and everything out there for, you know, from checking for leaks to marking the oops to mowing, you name it. He's being pulled a few different ways, and he's so patient about it. We're pretty thankful for that as well.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Anybody? Okay, thank you, Misty.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Fiscal Officer, Courtney.
Did you need to bring Tom in here?
He's not on the list, but we can bring him in.
I just thought he was the next, and.
Okay. Tom, do you want to come in and give a report? I don't know what,
Hear us. I'll go ahead if he's,
okay.
okay.
Here it comes, here it comes. You call?
Do you want to introduce yourself and let everybody know kind of some of the things you might be working on, follow up from what Misty might have said? I don't know if you heard what she said or not, but.
Tom Hale, and building zoning and all other issues that are presented to me. And I think it's probably been summarized. However, we've been working really hard on the zoning side of things because it was unknown whether or not we even had a fee schedule. Courtney was able to locate one last week that had a resolution to it and had been adopted. The planning committee, it currently is under review with them to make sure that it's up to date. Not they'll present that to council to make sure it's up to speed because it's really critical. So there for a while, until we located it, we did have to tell residents that there was no fee. And I think I'll take all the credit for failing to inform Misty that there was a fee schedule that was sent. So I'll address the citizens with that. But the fee schedule is very, very reasonable, so it needs to be addressed. And so the ones that may have to pay a fee. We have a couple variances that have been filed. We created a variance application in accordance with the regs, exactly as the regs dictated, and we presented that to the planning committee. And we do have two variances that are publicly being published now, so for next month's meeting. One is the fence, and maybe both of them are fences, I don't recall. But we'll work on those and take those to planning committee. Building side, having had building regulations done differently in the past, there's a little pushback for permitting how to do it and what can be done. But we'll slowly get there. So we're working with everybody the best way we know how. So the biggest thing is we found a lot of deficiencies in the zoning regs. So we take that to the planning committee as well and let them review it and get those up to date because they're somewhat antiquated and hard to understand. So.
Anybody have any questions for Tom?
Tom, I got a question on fences. Let's say, could you be grandfathered in if you tore down your old fence to replace it? Or would you still have to go in front of the zoning?
If you tore down your old fence and it's non-conforming, you tore it completely down, you would have to go to planning committee to put it back up.
Okay. I just wanted to-
Because the regulations have changed. If you just repair your fence, the answer would be no.
You know, if you had a plank then, you could go ahead and fix that up then.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything? Okay. Thank you, Ron.
Now the physical officer,
Physical?
a fiscal officer,
Fiscal officer?
Courtney Brooker.
Okay, I just have a few things. You want me to? Or be heard? Okay, I just have a few things. Okay, so we will be performing a distribution flush. I know I've talked a lot about this in our Water and Wastewater Committee. A distribution flush is not like a hydrant flush. I know we had the hydrant flushes done last week. Ohio Rural Water and our water operators and George and a few of his colleagues will be in here to perform that. So residents will be experiencing discoloration in water as well as maybe some sediment that's going to come through there, okay? So again, report any issues that you have. I do have a statement from Ohio Rural Water that we would like to state to everybody because again, this is a little different than the hydrant flushing. Residents will experience lower than normal pressure. So if you have lower pressure, it's just like the hydrants, you know, just wait for a minute. Again, we're going to be doing it from the 8th until Friday, okay? So June the 9th through June the 12th. You should not experience any water. So if any resident is calling in saying they do not have any water, that's an issue and you need to report that immediately, okay? So this distribution flush is not only used to clear the lines, it's actually going to clean the lines too. So a lot of people that have reported issues of discoloration, this is going to help with that cleaning of those lines. So again, we do have experienced people in here. They have been set through a training, so this should be a really successful sort of pipe clean that we've all talked about before. So it's really going to come into action now, okay? So I wanted to let everybody know about that. The finance reports that you all have. I didn't get any questions, so I believe council members, you know, I haven't gotten anything out of the ordinary or anybody had questioned anything on here, but for the public's knowledge, I will go through a few of those. So as we know with the COVID-19, income tax collections have decreased and will continue to decrease. So if you guys look at your reader reports, there were two because we did cancel our meeting that we were supposed to have Memorial Day. So if you guys want to take a look at those, you can definitely see the decrease in that. So again, council members received two of those. The appropriation status. The appropriation status, again, these reports that you're reviewing are for the month of May. I will circulate around a reconciliation for you all to sign. I'll get to that in a minute, but the appropriation status thus far is looking very good. So we are at 24%, which is actually below what was budgeted for expenditure at this time. Okay, so that's really good. We definitely kept down cost during this pandemic as well. So the general fund is very healthy at this moment. Streets, I believe Mr. Drake will get into this when his report for the committees is on here. That is a little slightly increased due to the signage that was asked for, that was already in the works before the COVID-19 had occurred. So let's see, the water fund we show is at 16%, which is very good. A little bit of update from that we'll have with Mr. Hicks when he holds the water and wastewater meeting this Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So there's a few items on the agenda that we're going to talk about there. And the water fund is definitely below what was budgeted as well. So if you guys take a look at all these numbers and all these funds, everything is below what was budgeted. Okay, so that's really good. Revenue status. Revenue status for the month of May. Again, revenue is coming in at 41%. I did see a bit of a decrease, like I said, in the income tax, and I also seen a decrease in the gasoline tax. Not a lot of people were traveling during the pandemic, so there has been a slight decrease in that. Expect the general fund to show a decrease. Again, we don't know how much that is. That's one topic I'd like to take to finance, Ms. Martin, when we talk about that. So we'll have some items to talk about then. But again, if you see everything else on here, the water, which what Misty was talking about, we did forecast some delinquencies and some water bills and sewer bills not coming in as expected. So we will be talking about how we're going to make an action plan. So there's going to be a lot to be discussed on Wednesday when we have our waste and water meeting. Okay, so receipt listing. If you guys see here, a lot of this is Rita, a lot of this is gasoline, and of course there has been and showed a decrease. Let's see, we have the charter, which is the AKA Time Warner, so people are still watching cable. So that's usually our quarterly, monies, revenues. And also the Mount Sterling Chamber of Commerce, you'll see on there for $1,400. That was a donation that was given for, and we'll cover that in the Parks and Rec, for the movie screen that we received, or that we purchased for our movie nights. Any questions so far? Okay, I'll kind of go through the rest of them. Payment listing, let's see. There's nothing new on here. Again, you'll see Ag Pro on here, which is John Deere. A few of our mowers needed to be in repair, so you'll see that in the next coming months as they get repaired. You'll see that. You'll see we did have some issues with our furnace and air conditioning here, so it hasn't been really maintained or maybe reviewed or inspected. So there were some blowers out, so the heat wasn't kind of coming on, the air wasn't kind of coming on, so you'll see some expenditures for that on here. But nothing's too out of the ordinary that nobody would have a question about. Comparison of budget and appropriated. Again, this is always a good report to look at in regards to what you should be comparing to what you should be budgeting for. So again, this one doesn't really come into play until the end or the end part of the year. Cash summary by fund, all accounts and balances are in the positive. The general fund shows a $686,000 pool balance, which is great. We will be having our Finance Commission Committee meeting on June the 23rd at 10 a.m. Last meeting we held, it was held virtually through a dial-in system that everybody had access to, so the public still. Nobody's talked about having an in-person meeting, so I will get that up to the website as soon as it comes in, but nothing as of right now if it's going to be in-person or still on via telephone. But minutes are always taken. If anybody has any questions or wants to have a copy of those, I do retain those, and I can send those to you. So is there any questions in regards to the financial reports?
Like everything's going good.
Last but not least, I do have the reconciliation for the month of May. It is zeroed to the balance, which means that every penny, no more, no less, has been reconciled. Again, I will pass this around to the council members to sign. I will first ask Mayor Darlington to ask for a motion to approve the following reports: the appropriation status, revenue status, receipt listing, the payment listing, the comparison of budget and appropriated, the cash summary by fund, 2 reader reports, and the bank reconciliation for May of 2020.
Can I have that motion?
You have that motion? I'll second.
So that was Andy and David.
And David?
Yes. Can I have a roll call, please?
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, and I will be passing around the financial report for your signature, as well as your minutes taking and your bank reconciliation for signatures. Okay?
Okay.
And I think I'm done.
All right, that takes us to committee reports. Finance, Becky Martin.
Yes, we held our meeting on May the 26th, and the topics discussed were, there's a CDBG grant, and the village has to make a contribution, but it's a grant for a project that's desperately needed over by the daycare. Is that
Yes.
correct? The fire hydrant and things over there. So that's a project that we've desperately needed to do, and it looks like that's getting ready to happen. So that's exciting. And then we also discussed the possibility of waiving penalties on RETA, which we did not do. We also had Columbia Gas project reimbursement. Columbia Gas at some point drilled through one of our lines, and when we inspected it and discovered it was them and not us, we talked to them about it, and they have agreed to fix that at, their cost. So
We'll say
that's
they
good
were
news.
right on it. They did a really good job, and they were just, they were here within a very short amount of time, and
Yeah.
so that was good.
So it's all repaired, right? And they paid for it, so all is good there. And let's see here. I think that's about all we had. Now, I am going to change the meeting date. It was kind of confused before, but we are going to have our monthly meetings, but there are instances where Courtney needs us to get together and sign papers. And we do that, of course, whenever she needs it. But we are going to have our monthly meeting the first Wednesday of the month at 3 o'clock. So, at 2 o'clock, I apologize. So that means on July 1st at 2 o'clock will be our next scheduled monthly meeting, okay? And that's all I have.
Thank you, Becky. Pleasant Township report from Melanie.
I don't have anything to report.
Squad, Jay.
All right, so we did have a meeting, can't quite remember the date. Our last meeting, we primarily talked about pay scale, because we were in a circumstance where some intermediate kind of positions that weren't quite either EMT or medics, and so we were trying to figure out a pay scale that didn't exist, so we're trying to come up with something from scratch. So that was the primary conversation that whole time. Our next meeting is actually this Wednesday, June 10th at 8 p.m. over at the Squad Bay.
Okay, very good. Fire, Craig.
Yes, we met the 27th, and they talking about their old business, because they're getting a new tanker, and they're trying to figure out how to sell the old one. So, and there's a book you can put equipment like in, and they're going to try to go through that. The new business is 491 Rescue has transmission problem. It's costing $1,100. The Grass Fighter is waiting to go into the shop at Ford, and 492 is in for air conditioning. And our next meeting is June the 25th.
Thank you. Then water, wastewater, also Craig.
At our wastewater meeting last month, we were talking about implementing the meters, and since we're under all this, it's kind of, because we were supposed to start in June, I believe. So that's kind of put a setback into that.
Right.
Also, they maintenance the Orville, that's that big thing. The gates, because they have sensors on them. When we get heavy rains, it just and fills it up with rainwater, so They have these gates that go up to protect those motors that cost quite a bit of money. They also moved a panel box that was back in the press room, that last building, to the main office, so everything is now gathered together. And June the 30th, they're going to have smoke tests for that. And our next meeting for water will be this Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Street, Andy.
Thank you. To Courtney's last point during the finance as it relates to spending money on signs, we did spend a little more than we originally anticipated on signs because residents were kind enough to report that we needed new signs. So every resident who reported a sign issue of some kind, we have placed an order for those signs. Those are in the hopper. They're going to get processed, and hopefully this summer we're going to get them all taken care of. We have gone through a significant number of the signs we have in inventory, so we just needed to get more. And plus, there's some specialty signs we had to order that we just don't keep around. We keep a certain number of stop signs, road construction signs, that sort of thing, but we had to order more. So bear with us a little bit on that. We are, as everyone knows at this point, down a person on the utility worker, street worker position. We are actively interviewing and trying to get that organized. So that is in flight, in process, and thanks to everybody who's bearing with us on that one. We did patch a number of key potholes. I think everyone is also very much aware that with 3 inches of rain in one day, we have some drainage issues. When when you drive through certain soft spots, particularly in North London, it creates potholes, pretty good sizable ones. And we have gotten them temporarily patched, but are studying ways to try to fix them permanently. These are ones, they just keep coming back due to the base construction of the street itself. We've paved over, and that's going to cause problems over time, particularly when it's flooding. So please sending those streets request things in as much as you possibly can. We're happy to take them. We're trying to get them prioritized. We've done a big prioritization for really large potholes here in town and are looking for getting a quote or so to just get those filled and taken care of from a commercial vendor. I believe that is all on streets for the moment.
Okay, thank you. Parks and Rec, Melanie.
We are gonna have our first movie night the last Saturday in June, I believe it's the 27th. We got a grant for some bicycle safety, so we'll have some surprises for the kids in the community. We also purchased the movie screen, or did we purchase it, or are we in the process?
Yes, between the American Legion, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Parks and Rec Committee, they all teamed up and bought the screen, yeah. And it came in today, right? So that's exciting.
Exciting. So we'll do that the last Saturday in June, July, and August. And we're hoping to do a theme with each movie, so June will be bike safety, and we're discussing July. We also got, we were talking about doing flower baskets or flower pots for the businesses, and there was some realtors that have been some community service here in the village. They are painting the gazebo, and they have donated some flower pots, so look for those to be out. I think that's about all I have for now.
Okay. Record of retention, Andy.
Yeah, so we had the opportunity to meet the last week in May. It was a good working session. We're trying to get our arms wrapped around just exactly what we have. We had a number of requests for records that were either duplicates or had gone well past their retention periods to go ahead and get those teed up for disposal. Right now, we're storing a lot of these records. Many of them are 10, 15 years old, in potentially other places just in town hall as well. So we're trying to get those taken care of, and with the help of our solicitor, we're going to be able to move forward on that. We do plan on meeting once again in June. I believe it's June 21st, if I remember correctly, and try to keep plowing forward on that part of the committee. So thanks to all the volunteers. We are combing through every closet, every storage bin, filing cabinet. If it's got space for records, we're going to look through it. So that is the update on that one.
You're good. And we did get some input from our solicitor in regards to records and
We
things.
did, we did. And
what
he
we
will
need
be
to-
assisting us throughout the process. No record gets destroyed before it's time, so to speak.
Right.
And the classification is important because the Historical Society also gets first crack at those.
Very good. Nuisance and abatement, Jay.
All right. So in our last meeting, we covered a lot. I'll just kind of go over some of the highlights. And so, yeah, we are looking for someone that wants to volunteer. We did have someone that had to step down. Just for personal reasons, so looking for someone that really wants to get involved with the community, volunteer the time to help, I guess, the humor uses beautify our village and just kind of just be impactful. Our enforcement officer, Scott, has been doing an amazing job. He's been doing very well and working with some of the residents here, getting their stuff cleaned up, things like that. Addressing with him, he's been so busy. Right now we kind of have him at 10 hours weekly, and he has just been filling those hours like crazy with being productive and seeing things. And so we're actually looking to probably up a couple hours to help him out. So we'll be kind of having discussions revolving around that. Let's see what else here. We have the Beautiful Yard contest. We are getting the signs for that. We had a couple, they're working on getting those together, but we will be reaching out to congratulate those that are really taking the time to make their yards look amazing. And I know a lot of people put a lot of pride in the front of the yard. I know it's a lot of work, because I just did 2 plants yesterday, and that's all I did. So I know it's a lot of work. So be ready for that to come out. So if you're in the community and you really take pride in your yard, or if you notice your neighbor, and just recommend them. Like we go around looking, but sometimes we like to hear the good stories too. So we don't want to miss anybody in this community. I'm still working on a newsletter. There has been like a little first edition draft that kind of went out on Facebook, just to kind of give kind of a start with it. And of course, it's going to keep building as things keep opening up. Events may get rescheduled. I left. Thank you. I was like, am I hearing that in my head? The hamster wheel is what it was. Hamster wheel trying to get going. The newsletter. So we are getting things together. So such as we have the cleanup day on June 12th and 13th. Those days are correct, right? Make sure I get those 2 down. I always say the other 2 days. And so we're like stuff like that will be in there. And so with that segue into that, June 12th and 13th, we are having our community cleanup. There have been 1 or 2 projects that kind of have popped up. Right now, like one's like for landscaping. We have an individual who is disabled and not able to get down and get dirty and pulling weeds and just cleaning up. And so that's an opportunity for if people want to volunteer. Get a little your family, your kids involved. This would be a great opportunity. We'll definitely keep the public notified. That's what I'm looking for about what's going on. So look for that on Facebook. And also, if you know someone who needs assistance with the project, let us know. I know some people really do want to get out and help. Are you going to address the tiller guy?
Yeah, I can, or you can.
Well, I don't know, because Jeff said. So anyway, so speaking of volunteer, like, for example, Jeff and I, the ball fields, when they're not being used, they overgrow. And if you don't maintain them, you lose them. We actually, Jeff Martin, who helps with our park, who works with our parks and does all the mowing, keeps it as beautiful as he can get. He does a great job. We came to a point where we didn't have one piece of machinery that could really beautify the fields, and we just kind of put it out there. Does anybody want to volunteer their time or their tiller? Well, this individual says, I won't give you the tiller, but I'll definitely do it for you. And he actually knocked out our diamonds out there, and he loved it, and he wants to figure out ways to get more involved in volunteering. And so it takes, and when you hear the phrase, it takes a village, it's so true. I know there's people out there that really want to do something, maybe not have the means to do it or whatever else, and this is an opportunity. Let's reach out to our neighbors, especially during this time where, let's just do what we can to help each other out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Am I missing anything critical here? I don't think so.
I do want to just reiterate a bit on that. Jay was talking about the 12th and 13th, and, if anything pops up, but that's this Friday and Saturday. So, so far, we don't have many volunteers at all. We have very few projects, like Jay said, and we don't have many volunteers. Now, we have a little more help on Saturday. If we don't get any projects set for Friday, there's a possibility that we may just go to all Saturday. I talked with the mayor about it, and, the Nazarene Church in the past, was a huge part of that labor force. And unfortunately, they're going through reorganization right now and things. There may be some of them come out, other churches, other, groups, but so far, no one has told us that they are. So, we're going to do our best to be out there Friday, and then Saturday, kind of what worked in the past. If there was no projects, we had people move their items near the road, and we just cruised around town and picked them up. And especially if you want it picked up, call and give your address. But and now if you have a couch up on a porch or something and you can't get it, call town hall and we will get the manpower to get that off your porch. But that's this weekend. That's the only thing that.
Exactly, it's this weekend, so please don't, I say this, don't feel ashamed. Don't feel ashamed. This is not like we're gonna sit out here and take pictures and like, oh, look what, no. This is about helping you out. We get it. There's circumstances where your hands are tied. And that's what we're here for. We're here for the community, to help the community. So don't feel ashamed, don't feel prideful at all. I know it's tough when you have to ask for help sometimes, but you know what? We're here. We're here for you.
Hey,
So-
Jay, I know with the NAS, we always had the public dumpsters. Will they, now without that, will we have someplace that takes junk?
I mean, as of right,
At the service garage.
at the service garage, yes.
Okay,
There's a dump
okay,
truck there,
okay.
where we can take stuff. So if we end up picking up stuff, we know where to go.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
Yep. Thanks for asking. And, next meeting, sorry. I'm gonna really discuss it. I think we're trying to keep it at 2 weeks, so I think June 17th at 3, does that work, right?
Are you did you want to do it at 2 weeks or at 4?
I forgot what we kind of decided. I know what
It's
saying.
reoccurring on the first Wednesday at 3
Oh, I
o'clock.
thought maybe we did 2 weeks for a little while. So let's-
We did it at one time.
Because,
Okay,
yeah, we had-
So, yes, keep it on the first Wednesday,
July 1st,
July 1st,
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. And we'll get some more updates on what's going on in the community, so thank you.
Very good. And that takes us to Block Watch. Mr. Timmons.
With the block watch with this mask, I feel like a crime fighter, but, the block watch, I've been telling the block watch people, and we've been watching very closely for the porch parts. I know I've talked this before. With this bars now, have a neighbor watch your home and bring that box into your home and tell that man, just recently, we've had 4 packages missing. And one of the ladies told me, I hope they enjoy it. This guy packed off all our fruit jars. So if he thought he had something valuable, he did. But watch out for that. And also, there's a scam going on now. They'll be calling people about the virus, about this pill you can get. Within 48 hours, you're relieved of everything of your virus. But you only have to send them a check for $58. Do not fall for this scam. And I've been telling people, they have this, and they will try to get on your email if they can find out, and everything else, but on the internet. But just be watching. And then Block Watch with the weather now is, we're going through the communities now and talking to the people, and it gets very interesting. And like I said, we're small, but we're strong, and we're growing. And that's my report, Mayor.
So when is your reoccurring meetings?
Usually we have them on Thursdays, and usually around about 4:30.
So is it every Thursday or?
Every other Thursday.
Every other Thursday?
Yeah, and we just I meet with the people.
At
It's a format that I like. I go into a neighborhood in advance, and like I said, I just go there and we take questions, and
then I go door to door and meet the people, so. Kind of like a goodwill ambassador against crime, basically. And we're doing a good job.
Very good, thank you. That takes us to ordinances and resolutions.
Mayor Darlington?
Yes.
Okay, so there were two motions that have been placed. I assume they were going to be brought up during the committee meetings.
Okay.
The first motion was the AEP project and the check, if that was going to be deposited to the general fund or the Parks and Rec. And then the second motion was the closure of the public parking lot out here, and I believe the alley if needed, for that every other Saturday. That was the motion that was placed on that.
Those are under the ordinance and resolutions here.
It is not. These are voice motions. The only resolution you have is the COVID relief. These were voice motions.
Okay. Well, I also had thought of one thing, that we need another, just a voice motion on the movie night on the 27th. You know, the park officially closes at dusk. We need to make sure that we have a motion to keep the park open on movie nights, all the movie nights. Doug Crabb of the Madison County Sheriff's Department sent me a message the other day asking if we had any events, and I told him about that one, and he said there would definitely be the Sheriff's Department out there, because it is going to be at Mason Park this time. It's different. It's not out front. With that too, and I just thought about it, we're going to need to get some bathrooms out there. We're going to need to call,
Yeah, 'cause there's a population you have to have.
yeah, we'll need to get a couple of bathrooms out there, but, and he said they may actually send an extra car, but we do need to get a voice motion if we could for all the movie nights
To
for the
leave the
summer.
park open
To leave the
later.
park open until the movie's over.
So somebody would like to make that motion?
Well, I'll make the motion to
I'll
do that.
second.
Becky was first, Andy was second.
Roll call then?
David?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Beck, I skipped you, I'm sorry. Melanie? Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, motion was passed, and again, that is to reiterate keeping the park open because it does close at dusk during those movie nights that are scheduled for the summer.
Are you anticipating all of them to be out there then because the crowd keeps growing, or?
I mean, if it,
Social distancing, I mean.
Well, yeah.
Spread out a lot more.
I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it worked out. I know it worked out great out here. And, with the added expense of the restrooms and things, I'm just not sure. The committee will have to talk about the next one for July, but for now, we'll say yes.
Okay.
The second motion, again, I don't know if you want to explain it, or it is in regards, the Parks and Rec Committee held a meeting and made a recommendation at the time when they were told that the cruise-ins would be every other Saturday. Like Miss Martin said, is that now it seems like it's not. So there was a recommendation placed at the committee level that said that they would close off the street parking, which is by Deacon Alley right here beside the Squad Bay, in front of the Mad Hatter, beside the gazebo. So that parking lot is public parking. It was requested to have that closed, and then possibly if there is any activity, that there would be an alley here beside us in the Carpet Place and Town Hall to be closed. I'm not sure if that's still a recommendation or not.
May I make a motion to table this until the meeting has been held?
With the people we talked
Yes.
about tonight, I think that's a good idea. Because
I'll second that if you need it.
Hold on, let me just make, I want to make sure to close public parking. Sorry.
I'd like to see if we could work out something amicable before we move forward, only from the standpoint that we're going to have to deal with this with other festivals and things as well. So I'd like to see if we can't meet in the middle.
I have a question
So wait a
too.
minute, so Andy's,
I'm making the motion to table.
Can I just have a discussion?
Sure.
The only thing is, the next cruise-in, like I said, it's not this weekend, thank goodness, but it is the 20th. And the food trucks need more notice than a couple of days if they are or aren't. So how could we just do some type of voice vote, since it's not an ordinance or anything, once they've had their meeting and decided, or?
Yeah, you can't take, I mean, that would be considered an open meeting if you guys, if I had to reach out to everyone and get their vote. So if you're gonna make a motion, like Becky is saying, it would have to, you're making a motion to table this, but somehow or other, there has to be another meeting with all 6 members here in order for that to pass.
Well, my question is, will that hurt the business, other businesses blocking off that parking? That's the only thing I want to bring up.
Why don't, once we meet with those folks, then maybe we can schedule a special meeting. We haven't had one in a while, so maybe we could do that.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody's asking, so the motion has been placed by Andy to table, Craig will second it. I will need to have a roll call.
Yes, roll call?
David?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
And Andy?
Yes.
Okay, so this has been tabled at this point, and then a special meeting before the 20th.
Okay, and I guess the other motion is in regards to the AEP check. For nearly 2 years now, we have been working with AEP in regards to them putting the towers over on the park. And every time that it's been presented, it has been presented that these funds would go to Parks and Recreation because that's the land that's getting taken away from, and maybe we're able to do something else with that money. And Park and Recs has no income, no way to generate income. So I would like to make a motion that we do accept the money and put it into the Park and Recs fund to work on projects at the park.
Is there a second?
Second here, hold on. Second. Okay, just a second. Motion has been asked by Becky to place it in the Parks and Rec Fund. First motion, second motion is Melanie.
Roll call?
May I have a question first?
Oh, yes.
I think, my opinion, I think it should be in the general fund and be distributed out. But I just, that's my opinion. I don't know how everybody else feels.
So,
In discussion, I just want to quote Courtney, that our general fund is very healthy at this point. This was when she was given her financial report. And then she's also reiterated that all funds are below budget. So financially, we look great, and Park and Recs is the only fund that has no income going into it. And it's been earmarked for Parks and Rec for 2 years. And I'm just surprised that there would be any question to that now.
Just plain devil's advocate then, if Becky's motion was, what's the word I'm looking for, voted down. So the money would then go into the general fund, but then could we come back later and earmark monies?
Yeah, so I didn't know when you wanted me to.
Yeah, why are you playing devil's advocate before there's a vote?
I'm just asking where it would go.
Because there was a statement I wanted to make, so I don't know if that comes.
You know, I thought the general fund, because we have so many potholes and stuff, and I'm thinking of the other things, you know, but that's my opinion.
My opinion is that it should go into the general fund because we don't know what collections are going to be like in 30 days. And although we look solid today, I think we have to face the significant possibility the bottom is going to drop out of the barrel. And I don't want to be spending anything until we at least have an idea of what the second half of the year maybe kind of looks like. And I feel strongly we need to fix the fence at Mason Park. The fence out front is not in good shape, and it needs to be dealt with. I think that's on an infrastructure improvement, and we should do as soon as it can happen. And then I'm of the view that some of the money, since it was a public asset, should be used for other public spaces, like alleys, for example, or curb fixing. So that's my 2 cents for that.
Okay, and so like I wanted to reiterate is, again, the Parks and Recs receives no revenue. Okay, so it did receive revenue when the lots were being sold out of Miranda Homes. So the Park and Rec Fund doesn't receive anything. It's not to say that, again, what the monies, when it comes in, usually goes to the general fund. But now that the Parks and Rec Committee had asked to have it recommended there, If, for instance, it doesn't go there, it can always be, it's not to say that it's never not going to be able to be put in there. So you can always take money from the general fund and use it to the Parks and Rec. I guess I say this not knowing what the result will be in this voice vote, but it's not to say that it can't ever be used there. And again, in those committee meetings that were held last year, it was reserved to be placed in there.
Yeah, I just did not know when you get a pot of money that's not
Right. Well, I wanted to
budgeted
put that
for,
Yeah.
how that worded it normally would go, so.
Right.
Oh,
So
okay.
again, the general fund is a universal fund, just so that you guys understand that is, the recommendation at the time was to put it into the Parks and Rec at the time.
I mean, one thought comes with, to be honest with you, we're 6 months into this administration, and we've not had one meeting discussing goals, projects, or anything. And so it's kind of concerning, it can be concerning to sit here and say, we need to allocate, when we literally haven't sat down and put together any goals here. That's actually some viewpoints even from, I've gone out and talked to community members. And I mean, you look what some priorities are. And that's what I thought. Sitting down, we've not sat down, and I know that's the thing, and I'll say, Becky's called out every committee, what is your 5-year plan? What's your wish list? Have we done that?
Right, we have not, and we need to put a focus on that, and I think we need to think about having a work session where we sit down and talk with all of council and their committees and work on this plan, because Becky has been probably the strongest advocate of the council at getting wish lists and project ideas and 5-year plans together, and so we do need to do that. But I think we're getting off a little bit, and we need to get back to the motion at hand.
So I
Can
have,
I say something real quick though? I feel like the park is giving up the easement, the park is taking the poles, the park is suffering from I don't want to say suffering, but the park is giving up the space to get the money. And I feel like that money should go back into the park so we can improve it. It can be a centerpiece for the village. I don't think that we should take things from the park to fix potholes. That just doesn't seem right to me.
Well, it's not the parks. That's
The village.
It is the parks. But, no, I know what you're saying. No, I know what you're saying.
all right, so,
Any other discussion? Okay, we've got the both,
Becky placed the first motion.
Melanie,
Placed
second.
the second motion to place those monies into the Parks and Rec fund. We have a
so, roll call?
David,
No.
Melanie,
Yes.
Craig,
No.
Becky,
Yes.
Jake.
I'm gonna make a quick statement. The reason I'm gonna vote, today I'm gonna vote no. I had to think about this. If I vote yes, this Thursday, I'm gonna be sworn in as the president of the youth league, which heavily uses the park. And so I swore to this community, I will not give an ounce of any perception that there may be something crooked or anything like that. And I want to be transparent as possible. And I don't think that'd be fair. And I think against my conscience, I think that would be a possible conflict of interest. So my vote is no.
So then you should just not vote. Voting on a period if you're going to.
I voted you can't argue for the council, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a no.
So no.
Andy,
I will also vote no.
motion has failed. Voice motion has failed. The monies will be placed into the general fund.
And I would say, we don't have a Parks and Rec meeting until next month, right?
Correct. July 1st.
Okay. My suggestion is that I come up with a list ASAP and then present it again to council, that that's the money, maybe with dollar amounts and that sort of thing, and we can present it again.
No, that's fine. It's just blasphemous, but it's okay.
Ordinance 2020-03 is a
I'll second.
roll call.
David,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Andy.
Yes.
Now that that's been the third reading, we'll ask for a motion for passage of ordinance 2020-03. 2020-03. Could I have a motion, please?
You have that motion?
Second? That was,
Jay,
Jay.
I'm sorry, Andy was first.
yes. Roll call, please.
David?
Yes.
Melanie? Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2020-03 has been passed.
The next is a resolution that was brought to us by our solicitor. It's 2020-14. This is a resolution requesting funding under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, the CARES Act, to fund necessary COVID-19 pandemic-related expenses. And we're going to ask to suspend the rules for this because we need to adopt this right away. So could I have a motion to suspend the rules for?
You have that motion?
Okay.
Second?
So that's David and then Andy. Roll call, please.
David?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Now I need a motion to place this on the first, second, and third readings.
I'll make that motion.
Okay? Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Roll call?
David?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
And now I need a motion to adopt Resolution 2020-14.
You have that motion?
Second?
I'll
Anyone?
second.
Roll call?
So that is David, Craig?
Yes, sorry.
David?
Yes.
Melanie? Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay? Andy?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2020-14 has been passed.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to roundtable. Does anybody have anything tonight?
I was at a D-Day celebration honoring all the D-Day on Saturday, and on our monument, there's 5 bricks that was representatives of the D-Day invasion, and it's hard to believe it's been 76 years, and there was one surviving member at the dinner. He was 98 years old, and he told about it as plain as day. It was very interesting.
Very good. Anyone else?
I just want to thank a couple of people really quick. For the upcoming movie nights, I want to thank Dee Stevens and her real estate business for buying the movie permit, paying the movie permit fees. I want to thank the American Legion, the Chamber of Commerce, the Park and Recs Committee for purchasing the sound system last year and the screen this year. And then I also want to thank Ben and Joy's Restaurant, Bricker Farms, and the Mad Hatter, who are all donating really nice prizes for the first upcoming movie. We'll keep a few little secrets. And then also, Jay was speaking about the gentleman that stepped up and tilled all those fields, Mr. Kurt Lehman. I just want to publicly thank him and his great work out there. So that's all I had.
It'll be interesting to see that big screen all blown up.
I know, I'm excited.
Anybody else have anything?
One minor thing, I don't know if everyone is aware of this, the library has resumed limited services, so please get out there and use it. The details are available at mountsterlingpubliclibrary.org. That's mtsterlingpubliclibrary.org. If you have bored kids at home like I do, get them involved in the summer reading club. There are prizes that are available. Please, please, please consider doing that. It's a great, great effort overall. So thanks to everybody at the library for getting that back into service.
Andy, I'm glad you brought that up. The museum will be open this coming Wednesday.
Yes.
And if you ever want to call, you can call in advance if you want to Steve Chambers there. And if you've never been in there, Mount Sterling history is all over the place, and you need the opportunity to take your kids there. Very educational, and it's well worth your time.
Absolutely.
And speaking of taking your kids somewhere, June 10th, Wednesday, not tomorrow, the next day, playgrounds are open. The playgrounds are open.
Are adults allowed?
Oh, and June 20th and 21st is free fishing. So if you guys like to fish, you don't have to have a license. You can go to any public fishing area and fish for free. So just to let you know. Okay. All right, thank you, everybody, for putting, oh, yes, okay.
If I could approach one more time, please.
Yes.
For the fact that we're advertising, for the fact of what we advertised in the past about the trailers across the street, Can I ask for permission to set up this coming Saturday? Because that's what we kind of plan to do instead of from like 12 to 7 to like a 3 to 9. That way that'll be out of the lunch rush, you know. If I could ask permission from the city or the Parks and Rec Department to do that. Because that's what we've told people already. I mean, when we was here 2 weeks ago, we said we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Would that mean that you'd be coming back then the following week for Father's Day?
Well, no, because we had a camping trip scheduled for this coming weekend. We moved it to next weekend, so it'll have to be.
I would like to object to that until council has a vote.
You what?
I would like to object to that until council has a vote.
We could vote right now if we wanted, right?
I would need a council member to make a motion.
You need a council member to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to allow him to have his food truck.
You want to close the.
It's just the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's 8 parking spaces. It's not the street, it's the parking lot.
The trailer just sits a long ways to the gazebo.
And you want it from
Okay.
3 till 9?
We usually work from 12 to 7, and because it would be during lunch rush hour and stuff like that, we can move our hours to 3 to 9, you know, whatever. It
It sounds like you're willing to work with both groups.
absolutely, absolutely.
And we are too, but our issue is not just that they're taking the public 8 spots, but the whole front of the village, everything on this street for their customers is what our big concern is.
Well, and I understand her concern, but unfortunately, that's the problem. Only parking I have is public parking.
Let me ask this question, and I don't know if
Motion
there's
is already
any,
in place on the table. It's already been first and there's a second.
Okay.
It has to be a vote. Because the council members have already motioned that the vote has to go through.
all right. So, roll call?
David?
No.
Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
No.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
No.
Andy?
No.
Okay, motion has failed.
So, again, we'll meet with you guys as soon as possible,
That's
see if we
fine.
can work
That's
something
fine.
out, okay? So we.
Get with me, get with
Yes,
me.
I will. I know Becky's
Okay.
got your contact information.
She does.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If there's nothing else, we are adjourned.
Oh, I had the parade on there. Okay, so remember in the chamber, there was the parade that we wanted to advertise for the
Parade.
4th of July. Barbie, would you like to give the instructions again? So July 4th?
July 4th, we're thinking like 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, 4th of July parade. Still practicing social distancing.
Just since Summer Jam got canceled and things, we thought it would be something nice that the community could come out for, that we would still be able to police it to be 6 feet apart.
So you're doing it like they're doing the car show things,
Just a parade from one end around.
The typical parade, yeah.
Yeah, Barbie, she's speaking on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce to talk about a parade on July. We will have another council meeting. Hopefully the Chamber of Commerce will have some more details on that, and then it will be brought to you guys to, if there's any closures that would be involved, for you guys to talk about. So just keeping that in mind for the public if they have any questions on that.
Barbie, I like the idea. 4th of July should have a parade.
I agree.
You adjourned at,
yeah, readjourn, 8:32.
I have a question and a problem. I would like to speak to the solicitor. I don't know how 4 council members